Let me go to the White House. Peter Alexander, this came from Sean Spicer. What more can you tell us, Peter?
Chuck, so let me just give you the information that we have. I'm joining your conversation in progress right now, so excuse me if I'm repeating myself.
Okay.
This is the statement we just got from the press secretary, Sean Spicer, saying that the president informed Comey that he's been terminated and removed from office. President Trump, it says, acted based on the clear recommendations of both the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, as well as the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions. The president, in a statement, says the FBI is one of our nation's most cherished and respected institutions, and today will mark a new beginning for our crown jewel of law enforcement. This statement from Sean Spicer adds, a search for a new permanent FBI director will begin immediately. We've also been given this letter. This is the letter that was written to Director Comey from the president, Donald J. Trump. It says it's essential that we find new leadership for the FBI that restores public trust and confidence in its vital law enforcement mission. He punctuates it by saying, I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Chuck?
Peter, stick around here for a minute. Let me bring in Pete Williams. Grabbed him on the phone. Of course, the FBI is Pete Williams' beat. Pete, we knew Director Comey didn't have a lot of political capital with Democrats or Republicans these days for different reasons. But the timing of this is probably the most shocking aspect. Did the director see this coming?
Well, if he did, none of his senior staff did. I just got off the phone with a senior FBI official who says he had no idea this was coming. They are in shock there. I asked where the FBI director is, whether he's in his office today, and I was told that he's not there now, but this person didn't say where the FBI director is. We don't know what the reason for this is. The assumption here is that this is because of the handling of the disclosures during the campaign last year regarding Hillary Clinton. And the fact that it's a recommendation by both the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General is what is takes some of the pressure off the White House here, because if the president had done this on his own, while the FBI has publicly said that it's investigating any connections between the Trump campaign and the Russians and the influence in the election last year, that would have been an extremely volatile thing to do. But because of the fact that it had the recommendation of the new Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, who's recused from that, and the Rod Rosenstein, who just became the Deputy Attorney General, just recently confirmed and has a bipartisan background, has served under President Obama and other Republican presidents. That takes some of the pressure off the White House for what undoubtedly would have been a huge backwash.
Pete, I got to play news ping pong here. Peter Alexander, you have a quick update. Go, Peter.
Yeah, Chuck, we're just reading through this cold as we're getting this information. There's more to that letter that I just read to you. Again, this is the letter written from President Trump to Director Comey, date marked today, May 9th. There's another paragraph in there that I'm just reading that I want to share because I think it gives more clarity about the reasoning behind this decision. It says, from Trump to Comey, while I greatly appreciate you informing me on 3 separate occasions that I am not under investigation, I nevertheless concur with the judgment of the Department of Justice that you were not able to effectively lead the Bureau. So he uses this opportunity, of course, to try to clear his own name while suggesting that James Comey is not in any position that he can lead that agency.
A very important piece of information there, Pete. Obviously, that's the president trying to he's trying to, I guess, depoliticize the decision, which will probably be an impossible thing for him to do.
Right. That's going to be the big question here. You know, the director had just testified last week about the actions he took that were so controversial involving release of information about the Hillary Clinton email investigations. Before that, the FBI Director James Comey's tenure in the job had gotten high marks from members of both parties. His handling of several high-profile investigations, his public willingness to discuss these issues of going dark, the inability of the FBI to track terrorist conversations, all those things had stood him in good stead. And then along came the Clinton email investigation, and his testimony last week didn't satisfy members of either party. The Democrats were upset with what he said about the Hillary Clinton investigation so late in the process, and didn't say about Donald Trump. The Republicans were upset that he didn't ever file. He recommended against filing charges against Hillary Clinton. So that has been the thing that has been hanging around his neck here ever since the election last year, and presumably that's
Right.
the reason.
You know, Pete, it's clear to me that Director Comey is probably more involved, at least in the comings and goings of this Russia investigation, than perhaps a director normally would be because of the intense scrutiny there is. But where is this investigation being conducted? What entity inside the FBI is taking the lead on this? If you could walk us through that.
Sure. It's the FBI's espionage or counterintelligence unit. They're the ones who keep track of the spies. And because the allegation here is that the Russian government was using its intelligence apparatus to affect the American election, that's been where this investigation has been all along. Now, it's helped out by its cyber division because this involved election hacking. But there was a person from the counterterrorism division in charge of this investigation who reported to Comey. Comey would have reported to the Attorney General, but now this means the new Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, who just got confirmed, is even more important.
Pete Williams, you've got a lot of people who want a piece of you for a lot of television, so I will let you go. Thank you, sir. Peter Alexander, if you're still there, I'd like to know if the White House has started, I guess, trying to spin how this doesn't look like the president's upset about the Russia investigation.
Well, you know, even as I speak to you right now, my colleague Hallie Jackson, while we're talking to you, she's talking to Sean Spicer. Let me try to give you a little of the backstory about how this went down. Frankly, within the last 45 minutes or so, one of our colleagues was up in Sean Spicer's office for a logistics meeting, a conversation that was supposed to take place there when Reince Priebus, the chief of staff, walked into that room and basically cleared everybody out of Sean's office. And rather than the main door you would normally exit out of, he asked them to go out a separate door and said, we're going to have some news for you in about 30 minutes. We ask you to come back up here. In fact, they said that news would break at 6:15. Clearly, about a half hour shy of that mark, we got this breaking news. But this was something that none of us expected today. You know what was striking, though, Chuck, just to more of this backstory today, during that briefing, a question was posed to Sean Spicer on a day where a lot of the focus was not so much about James Comey as it was about policies related to Afghanistan, Michael Flynn. But on this topic specifically, there was a striking moment when Sean Spicer was asked about James Comey and asked specifically if the president still has full confidence in him. And Sean said, basically, in effect, after sort of fumbling his way through it, he said, I can't speak on behalf of the president. I haven't spoken to him on this specifically since the last time I addressed this question, which seemed to offer some gap in there that made it clear something was going on today, which ultimately led to what we now know is the dismissal of the FBI director.
All right, Peter Alexander, I know you have other demands too. I will let you go.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.